So those of you who are from the Cap and the Boekweg and the Bouwman and some of the other related families may not know the whole history of how they were all connected and why they all came to Ogden and what started that whole process. So I wanted to put together a little summary here of their conversions to the LDS Church because really that was the primary driver and the main connection between all these families. So it all started really in 1888. Uldrich Boekweg met the missionaries and heard the gospel and accepted it and shared it with his sister Hazine and her husband Jacob very quickly, and they were all baptized in November of 1888 on the same day. So they were the first three converts in the tiny town of Siddeburen in Groningen. So from there, Uldrich's wife was baptized in 1889, then his parents and Hazine's parents were baptized in 1889, and Jacob Kapp had shared the gospel with his brother Ino, and he and his wife were baptized, and then his sister Jantje and her husband Zeeman Bouwman were baptized. Next, the Boekweg's brother Jacob was baptized in 1889. He would marry, and then his wife Jantje Prins also was baptized in 1892. Her sister Helia had been baptized in 1890 along with her husband Dirk Kruitmoes. From there, Jantje Veldman had a cousin named Heertje Dallinga, and Ertje was also related to the Caps through another marriage. But she and her husband Eltje Zeeman were baptized next in 1893. From there, Ertje's mother Altje was baptized in 1894. Then her sister Klaasine also the same year, and then her brother Jan in 1895. From there, Jan's wife was also baptized in 1895, and she was actually a second cousin to the Boekwees who were initially baptized. So another connection between the Dallingas. They were related to both the Caps and the Boekwees. Um, Next, I know when Jantje Veldman had a daughter, Ellen, and she married Willem Hanssen, and he was baptized in 1896. His brother Lupo then joined in 1897 along with his wife. From there, Ino Dallinga, the brother of the other Dallingas who had joined the church, he was baptized in 1890 along with his wife. And then finally, their father Urian was baptized in 1902. So when you look at that in total, there were 11 in that first family with Uldrich and his wife Peterke. There were 13 in the Cap, 14 in the Cap family. The two parents, Ina and Jantje Veldman, had 13 in their family who were baptized. Of course, some of these baptisms in these families took place in the U.S. later for the children. Um, Jantje, Kapp, and Zeeman Bouwman had 7 in their family baptized. There were 12 in Jacob and Jantje Prins Boekwe's family, 11 in the Kruitmoes family, 11 in the Zeeman family. The two parents, Jan and Katharina, had 9. The Hanssen family had 12, and then his brother's family had another 7 baptized. Klaasina never married, and it was just her and her family. And then finally, Ino and Frauke had another 7. So when you look at that in total, it's really amazing to see how many people came out of that initial person, Uldrich Boekweg, and his sister and her husband who were baptized. On top of that, most of these families came to Ogden. You can see those which came to Ogden: the Boekwegs, the other Boekwegs, the Caps, the Kruitmoes family came to Ogden. The Dallinga family came to Ogden. I know Cap came to Ogden. The Bowmans came to Ogden. The Zeemans actually went to Benjamin, Utah, but their oldest daughter moved to Ogden where she married one of the Caps. The Hansens were both in Ogden, and so you look at that in total and you see not only does this have a huge impact on the church in Groningen, Holland, in the town of Siddeburen, but also in Ogden as they all came over, or so many of them came over. Klaasina actually settled in Salt Lake City, so she was not in Ogden but nearby. So why was this branch so important? Well, in 1888, when they first heard this message, when Uldrich was first taught by the missionaries, there were only 252 members in the entire country, and that was after 27 years of missionaries being there. So you're adding maybe 10 members a year in the entire country during that period. 1890, there were 5 branches in the entire country, and none of them were in a city with fewer than 50,000 residents until Siddeburen came along. So in about 1890, the Siddeburen branch was formed in a town with fewer than 2,000 people. So completely unprecedented, never happened before, and never happened again. And it wasn't a small branch, as you saw from all the numbers. The conversion of Uldrich Boekweg and Jacob Kapp and Hazine Boekweg ultimately resulted in 119 baptisms over the next decade or so. On top of that, the branch was divided to form new branches in other small Groningen towns of Bleum and Farmsum. And so really 3 branches came out of that initial conversion there that we talked about. And of those 11 families that were shown on the previous slide, 9 of them settled in Ogden when they came over, and there were over 90 family members in that group. So that's really the story of how this all happened, and it all started with the man Uldrik Boekweg, who I talked about in volume 2 of the series of books I wrote about, called From Groningen to Ogden. So hopefully that was interesting for you.